Good afternoon and welcome to Healing from Complex PTSD. My name's Linda Meredith and I'm your Certified Complex Trauma Recovery Coach. And welcome to all our new subscribers on our YouTube channel. It's wonderful to have you here as part of our global family. It's such a joy to be able to come and share information with you as somebody who's not just a coach, but as somebody who has lived experience of having to recover from complex PTSD, and where it absolutely tore every part of my life apart. And I couldn't walk, talk, feed myself, bathe myself, take care of myself in any way, shape, or form, and needed a full-time carer. Now, just before we get into it, you may need to go and grab a coffee. I grabbed a drink today. And just because I want to go over a little bit of housekeeping before we get into today's actual video of major depressive disorder, and also to help people understand where I've come from, because I've never really done an introduction, and I leave it all on my website if people get curious or want to go and talk. But I do understand that people don't know who I am or where I've come from. As you probably can tell, I'm Australian and I live in Brisbane, Australia. I was born in New South Wales and moved here with my first husband before we had children. Not long after we got married, actually, he got a transfer here. Unfortunately, he is deceased and I now have 3 adult children and a beautiful granddaughter. And we all share this absolutely huge, massive home together. And for those who are doing the certification, the complex trauma certification, you'll understand why that can happen when you do the core unit around family and family dynamics, and how as a family we need to individuate as adults. And so we've navigated that process where we've individuated, yet we can all come together and have a great time and support each other in our journeys. And we've all also have our own individual lives, friends, etc., etc. And I'm not the mother that tells you what to do. I'm the mum that you can come and have a chat to and say, this is what's happening in my life, and either I offer insights or I don't, or ask questions or say, yeah, great, good on you. You know, you've always got to go out and explore. And I think my daughter put it more succinctly when she said, you've always supported us in the decisions that we're making. And my goal as a mum was that my children would always know that I'm there for them no matter what. In their teenage years, especially for one of my children, it was, yes, there are no consequences at home when you tell the truth. However, any consequences outside of the house that you incur, I can't put a stop to. So we've had lots of challenges in life, definitely, but it's how we navigate them, and that's probably for another video. For today, you need to know that I am Australia's first certified trauma recovery coach. I'm Australia's first NPE coach. Well, actually, I'm the world's first NPE qualified coach. And I'm a certified complex trauma coach. And I'm also a certified complex trauma professional with Janina Fisher's program level 2. And I trained as a counsellor. And I love my work. And I work with clients all over the globe. And in particular, I often work with clients who either have been in therapy for oftentimes 30 years, 3 decades. And I also work with clients who've lost so much of their life, and often these clients in Australia are on the NDIS program. And while it takes a bit more time, we absolutely have them improving their life and going through being able to become as well as they want to be, and that their physical, the physical wounds allow them to be as well. And that, the physical side of it, the toxic shame, the toxic stress, are all things that impact us and impact our health. And oftentimes it can be unknowingly until around about 35, 38 years of age. For those of us who have kids around that age, we can find things going truly pear-shaped. So it's not always that age, but it is a common denominator for those of us that grow up thinking, right, I've left home. My life's my own now. I can do what I want. I don't have to live as I've been raised. I can choose how things happen in my life. And yet we find that developmental trauma actually does come along and impact our life in so many ways. And it includes the intergenerational, unconscious intergenerational hand-me-downs as well that end up impacting our life. So that's a bit about me and my qualifications. I didn't choose to qualify as a therapist because globally therapists are not trained in developmental trauma. And you can look up a video on my YouTube channel called Trauma Informed or Trauma Trained and note the difference, because Trauma Informed is not trauma trained, and I lay it out step by step what the difference is. So the complex trauma certification is actually experiential, because with developmental trauma, one of the areas is attachment. And we need a safe space in order to do recovery. And quite often we need to be able to do that with somebody who's lived the experience of recovery, because that feels safe. We can go through our recovery process and know that I can say to this person what's happening to me, and they will truly understand what's happening for me, and also be equipped with the skills, strategies, neuropsycho, bio, physical, spiritual, on and on, information that I will need for my recovery, for me as an individual, not just as an overall covering. Now, that doesn't mean we don't need therapists. They play their role as well. Okay, this is just adding into a whole scope that's been not addressed for many, many years. And it's very heartbreaking when you get older as well, that you've been living with this all your life and not known and not had the language. So a lot of my social media is about helping you find and embrace the language of what's happening for you internally as well. So I do the certification. I'm writing out to core unit 9 now. And it's such a joy, because I now have 2 supervision groups, one in America/Australia and one for Europe, Australia as well. And these people that are doing the certification are the world leaders. They're going to be the change, not just within their families, but around the world, within countries, and etc., because they really feel strongly about helping people understand what complex trauma is and the impact it has in their life, and having an effective recovery, a recovery where you can look back over the space of 4 weeks and say, yeah, I'm seeing how I can make a difference in people's lives. My eldest son has started studying, and just in the first few weeks he was able to help explain to a friend what is happening within their brain from the trauma. And their friend just broke down in tears because finally somebody understood what's going on. So we need this out in the world so that everybody can stop saying, oh, it's just my nervous system, because it's not. The impact on the brain is quite extensive. To quote Bessel van der Kolk, he says, there's virtually no part of the brain that's left untouched by developmental trauma, and it is just so true. So that's that part. And then for those who have a self-directed recovery, there's the resource library for both professionals and individuals. And you're able to access lots of resources to help you with your complex trauma recovery. You can use them with your coach, with your therapist, with your counsellor, with your peer support person, with anybody, and really gain ground in your complex trauma recovery. And it has a whole different range of price points because we've moved to a new platform, and it's really accessible for everybody, and it's accessible for me on the back end, so I can offer lots of different price points. I can offer payment plans, everything now. It's been a huge job to change platforms, but it's well worth it. And I know, because of who the people are that run the platform, that going into the future we'll also not have to move platforms, because they listen to what the people who are actually using it need and change things up. I know I haven't been around on YouTube as much. I'm hoping to be, and I'm making it a goal, like I'm actually planning for it, because the world needs people who are legitimately trained, not just using information and passing it on to you. We want to have that connection to people who are actually complex trauma trained, so developmental trauma trained, and able to share information with us as we go forward. Now, so today I'm just going to do a bit of a screen change up for you. So do this, and I'm hoping it just stays all together for you and for me, really. And I'm going to put up the infographic for major depressive disorder, and I'm going to hopefully be able to just shrink it just a little bit for you. And what we're going to do is talk about 10 ways major depressive disorder impacts adults with complex trauma. So with developmental trauma. Now, these infographics are now going to be put into blog posts so that you can access the infographics easily. And the day that the video goes up, they'll also go right across my social media as well, because they're needed. And because I had a few people say, why can't we see men in them? I am actually issuing them with male and female pictures so that you can copy them and put them on your social media, so that people even around you may read them and begin to get an idea how subtle the impacts of complex trauma are. Now, when I was first diagnosed with major depressive disorder, I sat there and went, but I'm not depressed, okay? I had no awareness of any depression. I had anxiety that was crippling. And the doctor just said to me, look, with the anxiety you've got, there's depression. There's always the depression that comes with it. And so I just had to go with it initially. Like, I just went, oh, well, what else can I say? So fortunately, that doctor was very compassionate and didn't send me off for a whole bunch of tests or anything, because I'm always being really proactive in my approach to I want to be well. And that's why I've ended up where I am today, because I keep looking for what the real answers are, not the answers that kind of just only touch the surface. So in order to get to the space where I understood that there was major depressive disorder happening, I had to first address the anxiety, which I did, and then found that the major depressive disorder was knocking me out asleep. So I'd be there putting on my gym clothes and I'd wake up sitting in a chair with one shoe and sock on and one not, and going, what the hell happened? So it impacted my life initially. I understood it from the brain perspective. Now, it often comes with dissociation. So along the way, I've done quite a number of videos about depression and dissociation, and soon I'll do another one with an update of what I've learned as well. Now, I just wanted to do this one so that you can begin to have a tick list. So you can go to the blog and save it, and you can begin to notice where these things are impacting your life, okay? Or ask the question, are these particular things impacting my life? So even if I don't feel depressed, are these areas and significant areas that are impacting my life but I wouldn't have said I'm depressed. Now, for those who have and are aware of the bodily sensations of the depression, we want to be able to begin to address them by working with what's happening. And for you as an individual, no matter who you're seeing, you want to be able to go, okay, this is the area that's impacting me at the moment. I need skills, strategies for me as an individual. I need information, how I can go about putting this into fixing this area, healing this area, going into recovery, having this area become healthy in my life. Okay. So when you think of insomnia or oversleeping leading to disrupted sleep patterns, I just know that if this is happening in your life, you're going to go, yes, that's me. Okay. Because this happened for me so often that I didn't even know that it was an actual symptom of major depressive disorder. I thought it was just another part of my life. Okay, it can impair our work or academic performance due to decreased motivation and focus. Now, with that one also, you want to be aware there could be dissociation involved in that as well. But if you can feel the depression internally, then you'll be aware when it's just the depression. Because when you get a real sense of the depression internally, within your body as well, you go, okay, this is what I need to deal with. We may have difficulty experiencing pleasure or joy in activities that were once enjoyable. So what we do then is we have to make an actual plan of something we want to enjoy. The other side of that too is taking time out, like having to be super intentional to get up and move from where we are, whether it's at work, at home, wherever you are sitting, and begin to move around. So it's like giving yourself a brain break, okay? Begin to shift things up. And it's hard initially. Mental health is so powerful, but we don't begin to understand how powerful it is until we understand what's happening at the brain level and how the brain drives so much of this. Okay, we may experience changes in appetite resulting in weight loss or gain. And as I found out this year, the weight gain, if it's connected into, like I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, if it's connected into chronic illness, then it can be hard to lose the weight. I'm going to get back to you on losing the weight another day, but I'm hoping to put some more pieces of the chronic illness and the trauma together so that we can begin to help our bodies heal as well. We may have a loss of interest in social interactions, activities. And there's another side to this where we can say to ourselves and be really, really honest and say, look, I'd just rather be on my own. Okay? Here's the catch-22. We're wired for connection. So we have to ask ourselves in that situation, is this depression? Do I even have a sense of I just don't have the energy to go out and people? Okay? Because we're asking ourselves these questions, we're examining what may be a deeper influence for us, or we may just be like, yeah, I can't people right now. Okay? Now, a bigger goal of this area is to, as we go through our recovery, is to have people in our life who we're able to say to, look, I just can't today. And then another side of it is when we do go out and people, and this can be right from when we're at the recovery stage as I was, where just getting out of bed was huge and couldn't talk, and then having to recognise that if I do go out and people, I'm going to come home and crash, all right? Because it's such a big change for the brain, all right? These are normal. We want to normalise this because as we grow through our recovery, through healing it all, then we find that we're able to go out and enjoy experiences with people again. Oftentimes just with the people that we choose to. But even last Sunday, I was out in public helping someone in their business, and I felt on top of the world, whereas, I don't know, let's just say 2 or 3 years ago, I would have felt good, but I would have just been feeling exhausted as well. Okay, so it's over a period of time that we begin to see the changes in our life. I had to drive an hour there and an hour home. So when I got home, yes, it was exhausting. However, I was able to say, okay, I am going to rest as long as needed. But then I was able to get up and enjoy time with my family as well. Now, in the past, I actually worked for 1 week with international students who were here to learn more English, or experience speaking more English. And after working for that week, I was sick for 3 months. So when I look back and see the changes in what I'm able to do and how long I'm able to do it for now, there's a big difference. So this is why, even though the journey is longer, it is worth it. I will tell you all the time, it's damn hard. There's nothing easy about this journey. However, it's in those moments when we know that our work is paying off that we go, yep, glad I'm doing this, glad I'm participating in building into the life that I want to live. Now, with major depressive disorder, we may also have physical symptoms such as headaches or digestive issues. And for me, I'd slot migraines into that, and I have done a video on migraines as well. I don't have them anymore. What you can begin to do with migraines is begin to build an awareness, an internal awareness of when it first starts. I know for me, the migraine would be there before I even recognised that it was coming. So the first thing I began to do was build an awareness of when the migraine was coming, and I was able to address it a lot easier. We can have fatigue and low energy levels impacting our daily functioning. We can have difficulty concentrating and making decisions. This also can be part of being dissociated. So build an awareness around what's happening. Also build an awareness around asking the question, have I been stressed? And if I can say yes or yes, then you're going to begin to recognize things that impact you internally. If you say, well, no, not more than usual, then you need to go back and re-examine the not more than usual. Is that something that you think you should have been able to cope with and didn't, or you are just it's just a normal part of your life, but you need more structures and strategies, etc., to be able to work through it, okay? It's not easy doing this work because so much of developmental trauma trailing into our adulthood is that we think that so much of our behaviours, emotions, our way of viewing life is just normal. We're just used to being under so much pressure. But that pressure creates so much ill health, the toxic stress. So we have to build that internal awareness of, hang on, should I be having to cope with that much stress in a healthy situation? Okay? Or am I believing I have to cope with this much stress simply because that's what I've done all my life? Okay? And we can have feelings of worthlessness or excessive guilt. And one of the ways that we can work towards not having that or working through it is understanding that you're on a recovery path, and sit and work with your trauma coach through this, because it is not just a one and done, okay? And it is dependent on where you are in your recovery pathway. So what I would say to one client working with excessive guilt would be, who's been working with me for 3 years, and that's not normal, okay? As in, that's not the average, okay? The people who work with a coach long term are the ones that go on to really not just shift their own world, but shift worlds, and they shift their whole view of the world. The people who work with getting done what they need to get done are truly happy in their lives and their recovery space, and that's a good thing too. So not everybody needs to be there for that extended period of time. It's the choices we make. And so if you want to work with feelings of worthlessness and excessive guilt, and you're right back at the baby stages of beginning recovery, then what you need is going to be different than somebody who's already done a heck of a lot of work in this area. Okay? So it's not to compare, it's to give you that sense of, oh my goodness, it's okay what I'm needing to learn and discover at this particular time. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for being with us, and feel welcome to joining with our global family at any stage you're at. And for those who would love to be in a free peer support group, there is a Facebook group as well. And it is truly, we've been going for over 7 years now, it is genuinely a very supportive Facebook group in an incredibly safe space, very encouraging and kind and caring. So you're always welcome to start there. It has a staff of trained people working in that group. Okay, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now, and keep an eye out on the blog posts for when the graphics go up for you to share if you would like to. I'll see you next video. Bye for now.